We're going to hear from two peer cities who have gone through the process, where they'll tell about their experience. I'm going to introduce both of our speakers and let them take it away. Micah Reed is with the city of Fort Worth, and he's worked there for more than 20 years. He's the city's first water conservation manager, where he's since developed a nationally recognized conservation program aimed at reducing demands and building customer trust in the efficient use of its water supplies. And then Joyce Warren is the program and communications administrator for the City of Frisco Public Works and Engineering Services Department. That's a mouthful. Her conservation management efforts and program development have helped achieve significant reductions in per capita daily water use. I really appreciate you both being here today, and I'm going to pass the mic to Micah, and he'll go first, and then followed by Joyce. Sorry.
Thank you, Jennifer. So just before we get started, Karen mentioned something about the Irrigation Advisory Council, and I just wanted to add to what she was saying. I'm actually on the Irrigation Advisory Council for about one more year, and we desperately need participation from people in government, local governments that actually have any involvement in any type of irrigation regulation, whether it be writing ordinances, inspecting irrigation systems, anything like that. A lot of times at all of our meetings, it's heavily one-sided by irrigators, the people actually doing the work. So we really need, outside of the council, there's very limited participation in people working in local government doing that work. So I encourage you to do like she said, get on the TCEQ website, search for Irrigation Advisory Council, and see when our meetings are, and encourage your participation in that. On to what I'm talking about today about ordinance development. Fort Worth, we do have a twice per week. I like to call it a no more than twice per week, because similar to what Karen said, you don't need to water twice per week all the time. So I like to refer to it as our no more than twice a week watering ordinance. If you'll go to the next slide. This is just kind of a real brief overview of a timeline of our different types of programs. And two of the years that I wanted to point out were 2006. We had that was a drought year for us. In that year, we noticed that the time of day that people were watering really had an impact on usage. And if people were watering during the hottest, driest part of the day, that a lot of that just goes to evaporation and it's wasted water. So we developed an ordinance to limit watering between the hours of 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. You could not water. So anytime after 6 p.m. you could water up until 10 a.m. the next day. And then we went along, and in 2011 we hit a severe drought, and that was the driest, hottest year for us on record. A lot of you remember how a prolonged multi-year drought impacted the entire state. And in that, we actually went in for the first time to our stage 1 of our drought plan, which limited watering to twice per week. And so during that time, we noticed that twice per week was effective at reducing demand and usage. So in 2014, as we were coming out of that drought, we decided to approach council about making that a permanent ordinance that from now on we would have that limited to twice per week. And then just kind of just briefly, I'll promote some of our programs. We're making some enhancements to our education this year, to our educational programs, and then we're also just launched a low-income leak assistance program where many cities already have that, where they help low-income people fix their leaks. If you'll go to the next slide. I like that this slide really shows a lot. And one of the things, if you remember, I talked about 2006 and 2011. If you look at both of those years on this chart, you can see how usage really increased in those drought years. One thing I like to point out between this 2006 and 2011, there's about a 200,000 population difference, where we grew quite a bit in our population, but our demand went down. So that just kind of goes to show that twice per week does work, does reduce usage quite a bit. as well as the time of day restrictions that we put in place back in 2006. But really, if you look at this 2012 through 2014 and on into 17, really, that really shows how effective twice per week is. And those are the things you have to do when you approach your council. You have to show them that that what you're doing is going to be effective, that it is going to reduce your usage. Essentially, you're selling your council that this is what needs to be done. This is what is the best use of our resources. But that even in 2018 was not a drought year, but it was unique in that it stopped raining in May and didn't rain again until late September, so that it was a hot, dry summer for us. But the usage still didn't get crazy and out of hand. It stayed in reasonable range for us. On the next slide, this is a slide that Friesen Nichols put together for when we were working on our conservation 5-year conservation plan, but it shows some of the different BMPs, the cost of them, cost per acre foot, as well as the savings in acre feet that you get in this. And if you look over here at the twice per week watering, it's the lowest cost BMP with one of the highest savings outputs. So that's another thing that your council's responsible for ensuring that departments and cities use their taxpayer and ratepayers' money wisely and efficiently. And so when you start showing them that the savings is there, it's a low cost savings, high impact, you're kind of speaking their language. That's what they want to see, programs like that show that they're using resources and money wisely. So on the next slide, it kind of drew a blank on me, so I don't know if you can see this or not, but okay, one of the main things that the council, when we took this to council, one of the main things they were concerned about was this being something that was punitive for our customers. They did not want it to be something that we were just writing citations on. They wanted it to be an educational effort that we really tried to educate our customers. So one of the things we do on enforcing it is we send out we call it a friendly reminder. It's basically just a note that says, hey, our letter that says, hey, these are watering restriction days. You can water on these days. You don't necessarily have to water on these days, but these are the days you can water and these are the days that you cannot water. We have a high compliance rate, similar to what Karen said about San Antonio and Sauls. We have a really high compliance rate with just that first friendly reminder that we have issues. It's over 90% of our cases are resolved with just that letter. We've only had a handful that went all the way to needing a citation of any sort. When I say a handful, it's less than 5 in the years that we've been doing it. So we really rely on that first reminder. We think that that's in keeping with our council's wishes when we started this. And so it's really effective just in opening that line of communication with your customer. And on the last slide, this is my contact information. I really just want to point out our website, savefortworthwater.org. That's where you can actually find our ordinance. And developing the ordinance was just simply you had to work with your legal or city attorney and get the wording and all of that type of information in there correctly. But it's really just outlining your schedule, what people can and can't do. You can find all that on that website. Just go to savefortworthwater.org and look at our ordinances and look for the conservation ordinance in there. And now I'll turn it over to Joyce.
Good morning. I'm here to talk today about outdoor water ordinance development in Frisco. This is our story about some of the challenges that we face with rising population demands, continuous growth and development, and our efforts to improve water use efficiency and reduce water waste. Next slide, please. The city of Frisco is located in 2 counties, in Denton and Collin. As one of the fastest growing cities in the United States, Frisco has needed to balance a population influx with a demographic comprised of historically high outdoor water usage. Frisco is a member city of the North Texas Municipal Water District. As we continue to grow toward projected build-out, it is essential that we maintain water usage within our contract with the district. Frisco sits in the Texas Blackland Prairie. One of the characteristics of this ecoregion is heavy clay soils, which can create a huge challenge when it comes to lawn irrigation. Next slide, please. Our water management planning begins with knowing your demographics, recognizing trends, and understanding the needs of your community. In Frisco, 61% of water usage in 2019 was for residential purposes. Having identified the category with the largest use of water, we began to develop a plan that was tailored for our community's needs. Next slide, please. More than 60% of water consumption during the summer months is used for outdoor irrigation. This chart compares average water usage in winter with peak water usage in the summertime. The spikes in summer are primarily due to an overabundance of lawn and landscape watering. Next slide. In 2019, the city of Frisco installed a Campbell Scientific weather station. We also installed 4 automatic rain gauges. We put 1 in each quadrant of the city. The weather station is used to calculate weekly watering recommendations to determine if watering is necessary and how much water should be applied to your lawn. This chart illustrates that after 10 years of data collection, how infrequently supplemental irrigation with a sprinkler system is needed to meet weekly lawn watering requirements. The North Texas region receives enough average rainfall most months of the year to sustain warm season turf without supplemental watering. Applying more water than what is needed is a waste of water. We use this historical data as a platform basis to determine Frisco's watering schedule, which is defined in our water management plan. Next slide. Frisco's water management plan is in ordinance form, and it consists of 2 principal components: the water conservation and drought contingency components. The water conservation part is Frisco-based, and it specifies our implementation plans to reduce water waste in our community. The drought contingency component is derived from the water supplier, in this case, the North Texas Municipal Water District. Because 5-year and 10-year municipal per capita water use goals are part of the water management plan, it is a good time to take a step back and to reevaluate future water usage projections. A few years ago, Frisco updated its irrigation ordinance. Now, the ordinances work in harmony together to ensure more efficient water practices citywide. A new water management plan is filed with the state every 5 years. Our water management plan complies with all requirements of the TCEQ and recommendations of the North Texas Municipal Water District. Next slide. When drought ended, Frisco City Council unanimously approved best management practices for outdoor watering. We updated the conservation portion of the water management plan in 2015 and added the best management practices. The BMPs are designed to help maintain a proper balance in a rapidly growing community by providing an educational and an evidence-based approach to water conservation. For example, the BMP states, watering is permitted once per week on your regularly scheduled residential trash and recycle day. We tried to make it easy for residents to remember their assigned watering day. When you roll out your trash and recycling cart, you can turn on your sprinkler system if necessary. Fortunately, this schedule is conducive for our water distribution system, and thus far we've been able to avert pressure problems. An interesting note, though, about that BMP, the wording regular residential trash and recycle day was actually an addendum to the original BMPs because during holidays, trash service is delayed. Well, Residents were taking advantage of watering on their assigned day and on the delayed service day. The BMPs provide water customers with a variety of ways to water without turning on their sprinkler systems. They can water daily using a handheld hose, drip irrigation, bubbler system, and soaker hoses. Our water management plan serves as the foundation for messaging and program development. The goal is to create a shift in thinking about water use that will bring about more sustainable consumption for the long term. Next slide, please. Water management plan enhancements are designed to reduce water waste from outdoor watering, primarily from irrigation systems. This is the low-hanging fruit in Frisco. Every Monday, staff calculates the weekly lawn watering recommendations derived from our weather station data. When supplemental watering requirements reach 3/4 of an inch, then a second day of watering is available to residents and our water customers. Otherwise, outdoor watering with an irrigation system is limited to 1 day per week. The watering recommendations are sent to nearly 30,000 subscribers via the WaterWise e-newsletter. The weekly watering advice is also sent via text messaging. It's posted on the website and it's recorded onto a 24/7 watering line. Frisco prohibits the planting and watering of cool season grasses. It's not that we have anything against dry or fescue grasses, but water customers who overseed have a tendency to regularly run their sprinkler systems during fall and winter. As a community, we need to keep water usage low in winter so we can recover from heavy water usage during the summer. Our water conservation programs are developed to work in tandem with the water management plan and primarily focus on reducing outdoor water usage. As you can see in the slide, we monitor for year-round compliance. However, we step up our game during drought with increased fees and patrolling. And because education is key to long-term cooperation, water customers who receive their first watering violation can sign up for a free sprinkler system checkup and have it waived. One other note is that our violation structure is that where residents do not receive citations necessarily, we apply the fee to the water utility bill. Next slide, please. Our water management plan has served us well. Frisco has been successful in nearly reducing its GPCD by half. Take a look at the year 2000. Our population was roughly 33,000, and yet the GPCD was 299. Fast forward to the end of year 2019, our population had grown to 193,000, and our GPCD was 157. We nearly cut that in half. Although it appears our GPCD is leveling off, our population has continued to grow, and we do remain challenged for the future. Next slide, please. With a 2020 vision and a 2040 focus, we can continue to address the needs to maintain a proper water usage balance in Frisco. To learn more about the City of Frisco's water management plan, our water usage, weather station data, and water conservation programs, visit friscotexas.gov/water. Thank you for the opportunity to share our story with you today.
Perfect. Micah and Joyce, thank you so much for your presentations, and we'll move into the question and answer portion of the section. So let me go to my little tab here, and this is for Micah. Do your wholesale customers have to follow the same rules as Fort Worth? Do they have ordinances as well?
So any of our, we have about 32 wholesale customers that we sell water to, we sell treated water to. We purchase all of our raw water from Tarrant Regional Water District, and we treat it and sell it to other cities as well as our own customers. All of anything that we pass by ordinance, our customer cities are required to pass similar ordinances as well. They're not required to do any programs that we do through our conservation programs. unless we do them by ordinance. So any of our watering restrictions they're required to do, because those are official ordinances. So yes, they are required to do them.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Next question. Oh, you want to add something?
I was just going to add one other thing to that. We do, right, we allow any of our customer cities to piggyback on any of our contracts that we do on any of our programs. So that, and that's any city, not just our customer cities. So anything that they see that we're doing that they may want to do something similar on, we make that available to where they can do that.
And Joyce, do y'all have any wholesale customers that y'all serve?
We do.
You do? And do they follow your same guidelines, or do they have ordinances?
They do have a water management plan, and they do follow our recommendations. In preparation for the water management plan, we share that information and also the information from the district, the North Texas Municipal Water District. And it looks like for the past, many years, they have taken our recommendations and have been in check with our guidelines.
Very good for both Fort Worth and Frisco. All right, next question is for both of you as well, Micah and Joyce. Does Fort Worth and Frisco incorporate run times into their watering recommendations? Or is it more general, water outdoors on designated days, and you leave it up to the customer to determine how to water? Micah, you want to go first?
Sure. We, as far as run times go, we kind of feel like every system's unique, and we cover such a large area. We have a lot of differences in things like pressure, different pressure in different parts of the city. So there's really no system's going to be unique that we feel like we could give an accurate, you need to run your system this long. Now we do have, through Tarrant Regional Water District, we do offer some assessments, irrigation assessments, where somebody, a licensed irrigator will come out, take a look at their irrigation system and make specific recommendations through that. And we also have, Tarrant Regional also provides weekly watering advice through Facebook and online things that we also encourage our customers to sign up for, so that they get weekly watering advice.
Joyce, would you answer?
Yes. So I agree, it is difficult to know exactly how much to water because each system is unique. However, in our weekly watering advice, we have kind of simplified how much water is needed to apply. On our website, friscotexas.gov/water, there is a tab that you can click on for watering wisely. And we basically round our watering recommendations from the weather station up to the 1/4 inch. So we'll say apply a 1/4 inch and then give you an idea of how many minutes would be needed for that. To take that a step further, we also have an internal sprinkler system checkup program. We have 6 full-time licensed irrigators that run that program. And what's important for us is for them to get out there to actually walk the system with the homeowner or the water customer and educate them, talk to them about the microclimates, how many minutes are needed per zone pending those microclimates. And one thing that we do that is unique for this area is before they leave, they'll actually set the irrigation controller with the homeowner there, explaining how to set it in compliance with Frisco's watering schedule and for the cycle and soak irrigation watering.
Awesome. Sounds great. Let me jump back real quick. Micah, you mentioned the irrigation audits or checkups. Do you have, who is providing those for the city of Fort Worth?
We do it through Tarrant Regional. They provide them through a private contractor.
Okay. I think someone was maybe wanting to know who that contractor is. I don't know if you're able to share or not.
I can't think of the
Wise Guys.
Right now. It's not Wise Guys. Okay. It's Michael Mueller's the guy's name. Okay. I can't think of the name of the company offhand, but they do offer that to all any city in their area, in their service area. So any of our customer cities, any of their direct customers, pretty much anybody in Tarrant County.
Okay, moving on to the next question. Does Frisco and or Fort Worth, do y'all prohibit the planting of winter rye? Micah?
At Fort Worth, we don't prohibit it, but we won't give a variance for it either. So they can do it, and if they can't make it grow or green up in their on their current schedule, then they're just throwing money out the window. So that is something that we would like to do is prohibit it altogether. But for now, we just rely on our schedule.
Okay, thank you, Joyce.
Our messaging is overseeding with cool season grasses is prohibited in Frisco. However, we do have variances in the case of severe erosion control. Also, golf courses, parks, community parks are exempt because we have to keep those safe for our residential and commercial customers' usage.
And then a follow-up, Joyce, was do you happen to know how long y'all have prohibited cool season turf in Frisco? And was there any pushback on this from any sectors of water users?
It was first introduced in 2009 in the water management plan. And for the most part, we really haven't received pushback. Now, what we are challenged with is compliance. And even though a fee structure is in place, it would be deemed as a watering violation. We are hesitant to do so except when we're in drought, because once again, education is key in Frisco, and to get their long-term cooperation and understanding is far more valuable for us than just issuing a fee.
All right, let's see here. Somebody has shared Michael Mueller's contact info. So if you look in the question and answer section, our attendees should be able to get their email address, because I believe that was made public. And with that, I would like to thank Micah and Joyce for joining us today and providing some great insight to their practices that they have both in Fort Worth and in Frisco. The best management practice seem to be working real well based on y'all's GCPDs. Frisco has met, Fort Worth has met that, and then Frisco is very close. So keep up the great work, guys. And we'll move on to our next speaker.